Bang! Welcome to Cryptocurrency Blockchain News, a cryptocurrency blockchain aggregated news show on YouTube. It's going to be drinking. It's going to be smoking. It's going to be swearing. You have been warned. So look. Here I come. In 3, 2, 1. Bang! Welcome, everybody. Black, white, gay, straight, Christian, Muslim, Jew. Welcome. My name is Shmari Clark. Welcome to Cryptocurrency Blockchain News. You are now about to witness with your very own eyes the greatest show on earth. The greatest show. In the multiverse. Bang! Greatest daggone show in the daggone multiverse. Bang! We have a great show for you today. All right, everybody. Look. Oh, my gosh. So much has happened. So much is going on. Shamari, tell me. Get my mind right. Don't worry, dog. That's what I'm doing here, man. That's what I'm doing here, dog. We're going to get our minds right. And we're going to see where we at. Where we at, Shamari? Okay, so we're going to talk about where we're at. So that's going to be a bunch of yap. Maybe not too much. And then we are going to do 2 stories, and which are going to sort of relate to the yap I'm about to drop on you. All right, so look, story number 1 will be Hong Kong roadmap to crypto. There's a roadmap to crypto for Hong Kong. So who gives a fuck about Hong Kong? Well, Hong Kong's part of China, motherfucker. Look, China, 1.4 billion citizens, right? That's a lot of crypto buyers. And, you know, Xi Jinping and the boys in the CCP, come on, they control Hong Kong. So if they're allowing it in Hong Kong, yeah. All right, so look, and we'll get to that when we get to that. And then, bang, United States of America today, April 25th, 2025, bang, has set new banking crypto rules. In other words, there are no rules. No, just kidding. We're gonna read about those, but yeah, like under the last SEC guy and the last administration, really, right? And the COO. Wait, sorry. The OCC, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, right? Like they didn't let banks do anything with crypto. Yeah, well, times are about to fucking change and make us rich. So look, let's do how we do, brothers and sisters. Been a long time. Love you guys. Let's do this. Let's begin how we begin with a bang. Whoops. Bang. Yeah. Haven't done this so long, I forget which buttons to press. All right. Bang. Here we go. Oh, and we're banging nicely today. All right. So let's start out with price of Bitcoin, $94,796. And when I left you last time, we were at Oh, no. Shit. Where's the last time? 1 second, guys. I got to find the last time. Anyways, man, we were about 70 something thousand back then. The last show I did. I can't find it. All right. Look. So we are up 24,786. All right. We are up. 21,000. All right. Okay, so what's been going on, Shamar, man? Shit's been fucked up. Actually, let's go back to the Death Star. Bang! Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk about that. What the fuck has been going on, dog? What's been going on? Trump. So look, I'm going to say some things, and I want you guys to understand something, whether you're a Trump supporter or you don't like him. I want you to understand that I'm not saying whether I like the guy or not. Okay, I don't give a fuck about him. I only care about what politicians do in terms of how is it going to affect my money and my investments. That's it. Okay, so you're probably going to hear me say some bad things about the guy, and you're probably going to hear me say some good things about the guy. And I'm looking at it from a economic perspective. Okay, I don't give a fuck about the guy or any politician, right? So, all right, so just be aware because I know the Trump topic is very acidic, right? Either you love him or you hate him. I don't give a fuck about him as long as he just lets me get the chicken I deserve. I'm good. So, let me get a little fuel and we'll be right at it. Right on this channel, golden rules, 2 rules: no politics, no religion. Whatever you believe politically, have at it, brother. Whatever you believe religiously or not, have at that too. Okay, so what's been going down, Shamar? What's been going down? All right. So where do we begin? Where do we even begin? Okay, so you obviously know that, we had a great market going for a while there. And then Trump decided to unleash tariffs on every motherfucker on earth. Well, markets don't take kindly to that type of shit, right? They don't take kindly at all to that. Right? You have to understand that markets want certainty. Businesses want certainty. Like, forget just markets. I mean, as a Forex trader, we want certainty, right? Like, something might be trending down, but that's the point. It's trending down. It's an orderly thing, right? And same with businesses. They want to know, well, how much is it going to cost for me to get this? How much is it going to cost for me to get that? How much, is shipping going to cost? So the guy went buck fucking wild, and just tariffed the whole planet. Right? Like, yeah, we're America. You gotta pay us to sell in our country. Well, I want you all to understand something. If you're an American, those tariffs, and anyone in any country actually, because you guys are gonna give tariffs back to America. Tariffs are actually a tax on the country that does them. And I know a lot of people here in America, they don't get how tariffs work. Like, they think, yeah, Donald Trump's getting China 150% tariff. Yeah, motherfucker, that you have to pay. That we, consumers, have to pay. That's why Trump backed off, right? Last week he said, look, all right, we're not going to put tariffs on iPhones and laptops and electronics. But everything else, well, there is nothing else. China only sends us electronics and shit. So basically he backed off. And you saw how the market reacted to that. Well, first of all, you saw how the market reacted to when he just started talking all sorts of shit and talking about 100 this, 100 that tariffs, right? The bond market. So, so what happened was the bond market said, What does that mean? Well, what that means is that the dollar started to tank. Right? Under a tariff regime, our money, the dollar should actually go up in value. Right? But that's if you're putting tariffs like a normal person. Right? When you're dropping 20, 50, 100% tariffs, yeah, you're disrupting the markets. Right? Like 2% tariffs on something, okay. 5%, okay. Fucking 100, it's like going crazy. It's like you just smoked a bunch of crack. Your brain's gone. And so the bond market, and understand this, the bond market is where the biggest of big boys play. Right? Like if you're a gazillionaire like I don't know, like Bezos and Bill Gates and that, most of your shit is in bonds, most of your money. Because it's guaranteed money. And you have so much of it that even though bonds pay only a tiny bit, yeah, but you're going to get it automatically. And then they do what's called rolling them over, right? They get the profits from the bonds that expired, and they roll it over, just buy more. So the bond market, you have to remember, is where the really big boys play, not the stock market, right? Like, for instance, retailers, we don't play. We can't afford to play in the bond market, right? We can afford to play in the stock market, definitely crypto. Yeah, no way a person, regular middle class, or even a millionaire, really, Well, a millionaire could probably do it. But anyways, the bond market is the elite of the world. Yeah, and they spoke. How'd they speak? I'll tell you. How they spoke was that when these tariffs went down, usually, okay, so let me back it up. Usually, in times of financial crisis, corporations, institutions, everything do something, and it's called going risk off. Risk off. And what risk off means is, because remember, if I'm a hedge fund, it's not my money, it's my client's money that I'm out there wheeling and dealing with, right? And when you're at that level, well, you expect results. You know what I mean? When you've got a billionaire's money, he expects results, okay? And so, you know, so, okay, let me say this. So, a flight to safety usually means, I was like, what? All right, flight to safety usually means that you go into bonds, because bonds are supposed to be kind of 100%, but the especially 100% are Swiss bonds, Japanese bonds, and American bonds. Those are the three what are called no-risk assets. In other words, if you buy these, you are going to get paid no matter what. World War III can break out. You're going to get fucking paid. The whole planet can get nuked. You're going to get paid, right? That's called the flight to safety. These are the safety assets. Everything else, risky. And gold and precious metals, a lot of people also use as a safety hedge against volatility in the risk markets. And so what happened was the US dollar was supposed to go up it's like going up in value. Fuck no. What happened in the bond market was people were like, I'm getting the fuck out of the US dollar. Now they started selling dollars and buying euros and gold. Lots of gold. Lots. And lots of gold has been purchased in the past couple of weeks. Because everyone's running away from the dollars. Right? You got a maniac, a financial maniac in the White House, right? Doing maniacal things. Like, what the fuck is all this? Right? He was handed a good economy. Inflation was coming down. Everything was smooth. And then this guy, crackhead, comes in and goes all crazy financially. Again, I'm not saying whether I like the guy or not, but I am telling you, every financial policy has been a shit show beyond belief. This is craziness. You know, and you hear all the CEOs saying the same thing and everything, right? Everybody knows. Are you nuts? And so, but the bond market, dumb play. I don't give a fuck who you are. You're the president of America. Well, watch this. Bang, we're leaving. Yeah, and they went and they bought euros. And what was weird, they bought, I think it was Norwegian kroners, which I found kind of interesting. And then obviously gold and stuff. So that's when Trump had to back the fuck down, right? He had to be like, all right. Because the bond market is for any country, not just America, for any country, or even a company. Companies also issue bonds. Cities issue bonds. I mean, so bonds are key because, you know, you're asking for someone to lend you money. And if people don't want to lend you money anymore, well, how are you going to pay that deficit, America? And so what was happening was the bond yield was going up. Usually it goes down during risk-off time. Way down, like almost zero. Nah, it went up almost to 5%. In other words, people were telling the American government, I want you to pay me 5% if I lend you money. Right? Usually during risk off, it's usually like, oh, okay, I'll take fucking 10 cents as long as I get profit back. In other words, you're just trying to save your money. You're just trying to save your client's money. Right? So you really don't give a fuck about the yield, you know? Or even if you make anything, the point is you still have your client's money. You haven't lost anything. Right? That's the key. You haven't lost anything. And so that's what happened. The big boys are like, look, dog, you got this fucking crazy guy up in here talking this shit. I'm going to need about 5% to lend you any money. Yeah, and that woke the fuck up. That woke the administration up, didn't it? Yeah, Trump had to back down the next day. Like, right, the reporters started asking, Mr. Trump, uh, is this a result of the bond market? He's like, no, no, people were getting jittery and skittery. Yeah, it was the bond market. Trust me. Those are the billionaires of the billionaires of planet Earth who fuck with bonds. Well, and countries. I mean, countries buy our bonds too. And that's why you saw, and that's what makes it extra like, oh, hold on a second, 1 second. Just had to turn on that light there. Oh, you can see me better now. All right, cool. It's probably not a good thing. He ain't the best looking motherfucker, but he's smart. All right, guys. So where were we? And so yeah, the bond market spoke. Yeah, you're gonna have to give me 5%, bitch, for me to lend you money. You're crazy. Yeah, well, that never happens. America is the flight to safety, reserve currency, all that, right? They were like, we don't need any of your reserve currency, dog. You're batshit crazy. And so that made Trump, so let's move on from that. And so that made Trump and everyone, well, that didn't make it. I'm sure that big executives from around the world, even the Saudis, were like, what the fuck are you doing, idiot? Right? Because they own a lot of our bonds. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You're fucking everything up. And so he backed down. He said, okay, I'm giving 3 months until the reciprocal tariffs are launched, right? So right now, everyone in the world, I think, is paying 10% tariffs, right? And the reciprocal tariffs, like the rest of it, like will come in. Actually, let's look it up. Hold on a second. Let's look that up. Let's see when these reciprocal tariffs are coming in effect. 1 second. All right, hold on. When do reciprocal tariffs go into effect? All right. President Trump will oppose? Yeah, so, wait, this will take effect. No. So we're at the 10% now, but hold on. Sorry. That's what he did on April. But the other ones, all right, hold on. Here it is. Because the big ones, like the 45%, 50%, 30%, that's coming later. And so that's what I just want to show you guys. And actually remind myself. Reciprocal escalation. Okay, so on April 9th, he paused them. And when are they coming back? Right, the big ones, the big tariffs. Fuck off. Hold on. All right, hold on, guys. Hold on. We'll find it. All right. Let's see. Okay, when will tariffs go into effect? Let's try this one. This is important. Man, you're boring me, man. Well, it's important, dog. These tariffs, I'm telling you right now, like, you think shit's expensive now, Americans? Well, everybody, whatever country you're in. Shit's about to get super expensive. I hate to break it to you. Like, if you have children, I would buy all the toilet paper and diapers and baby formula and fucking everything right now. Trust me, it's going to be crazy in a few weeks once the tariffs start. Because remember right now, I want you all to remember this. Right now, what you're buying from the store is stuff that was already purchased, months ago, right? And so there's no tariffs on that shit yet. Yeah, but the tariff stuff, when that comes in, yeah, well, it ain't going to be fucking pretty. Hold on, I got to do something. What the fuck's going on here? Hold on, let me refresh that. Yeah. So I'm serious. Like, if you have a child or something, or just whatever, anything. If you have a big place like a cabinet, one of those cabinet freezers and shit, fill it with meat, fill it with everything right now. Right now. Damn it. This just. Oh, sorry, guys. All right, here it is. I got to hurry up. Will expire on, there it is, July 8th. So July 8th is the day when the real tariffs, like the full tariffs, come. All right, July 8th. All right, let's get out of here. This thing keeps trying to sell me something. Oh, here we go. Okay. So the 90-day suspension is set to expire on July 8th. So, okay, where were we? So, hold on, let me have a sip. So Trump, the Trump admin paused the full tariffs until July 8th. So we're not done yet, guys. I want you to remember that. July 8th, that's, that's, that's D-Day. That's D-Day. All right, so let's get back to the Death Star. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so, all right, so July 8th is really the date you have to think about. We all do, because, I mean, if they go through with this, like in a full way, the full way they're talking, man, there's going to be chaos in the markets. And that hits us too here in crypto, right? You know, crypto is sort of correlated to the, people are saying, the NASDAQ and the S&P. But what was interesting was that correlated means when the S&P goes up, crypto goes up. Or the NASDAQ goes up, crypto goes up, right? That means correlation, like they follow each other's moves, right? It's called correlation. Like the US dollar against the yen, if you take the 10-year treasury yields and look at them, yeah, they follow, right? So if you want to know, is the dollar going to go up against the yen? Yeah, look at the yields. Hey, yields are up, dollar's going to go up. So as a Forex trader, obviously, I go long the dollar versus the yen whenever that happens, right? Those are called correlated markets, you know. The South African rand, right? I trade the I don't trade it much, but I can, but I don't do it. But the South African rand, because South Africa produces so much gold, when gold goes up, the South African dollar goes up, right? So if you want to trade the rand, just look at what the gold is doing. And the last one I'll give you is Canada, right? Canada has lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of oil. So when the price of oil goes up, the Canadian dollar goes up, right? Those are correlated markets. Those are 3 examples of correlated markets where, as a Forex trader, I can look at what's happening to the asset and tell what's going to happen to that currency, right? I can look at gold and go like, oh, all right, the South African rand's about to go up. I'm gonna go along on that, right? It's called correlation. Okay, so crypto's been correlated to the stock market pretty heavily since like Q4 last year, and but what was interesting, and I was talking to this with some of the brothers in the chat, is just that what was interesting was that when that whole thing happened of people being like, nah, dog, you got to pay me 5% to hold that money. Yeah, the euro went up, and so did Bitcoin. So it was like, whoa. And I showed a few charts in that. I don't have them with me now, but it was like, whoa, fucking Bitcoin's correlated to the euro. But then now, this week, we see that Bitcoin's correlated to the stock market again. So it's very strange. It's trying to find its footing. And so, so if you're wondering, like, well, what the fuck, man? Why did Bitcoin crash so much? Yeah, because of that tariff stuff, right? Macroeconomics. You know, in markets, we have 2 things. We have something called technical analysis, which is where we put the fibs and the trend lines in that. But the most important thing is we have something called fundamental analysis. In other words, the macro of the markets, right? The macro is what really affects every single little market, every single market out there. The macro, right? The big overarching thing. And that's why Bitcoin just tanked, because fuck, everyone risk off. Well, Bitcoin crypto is a risk asset. So if you're risk off, that means you ain't buying any of it. So, you know, and so that's what happened. So, okay, Shamar, I get it. That's how it all fucked up. Where are we now? What's going down? Okay. So, like I just showed you, was it July 9th? That's D-Day. That's when the new tariffs come in. Well, sorry, the full tariffs come in on everybody on Earth. So, from now until then, you know, it's just, I mean, I'm going to get real with you. Just everyone's just waiting till then. Right? Like, waiting to see, okay, how good or bad is it going to be, right? And so, so just hodl and wait. Buy the dips when you can. And so, okay, so that's one track that Trump is on, right? That's the global economic track. Let's call it the global economic track. In other words, I'm tariffing everybody. I'm America. I'm Trump. I can bully everybody. But now let's look at the Trump crypto track. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Look. And we're going to read a little bit about it later. Trump. All right. Wait, which one's, I don't remember which side is which side, but he's got the global economic track, and he's got the crypto track. And while his global economic performance is abysmal, to say the least, his crypto policies, though, look, yes, they couldn't be any sweeter. They could not be any sweeter. What do you mean, Shmar? Well, what I mean is this. He's ramped it up. Right? Under Biden, I mean, crypto was coming, but so fucking slow. Trump came up in this bitch, and he just threw that bitch into gear, and look, we're flying now. At record speed, at light speed. Right? He just appointed the new SEC guy yesterday. And what did the guy say? Wait. Oh, I think I'm talking about that later. Anyways, I'll just tell you right now, too, because I don't know if this is the SEC or if this is something else. Yeah, the SEC guy yesterday is like, don't worry about it. We're not gonna be doing what's called regulation by enforcement, right? Which is what the SEC was doing. They were kind of like letting people do stuff, but, oh, you're out of line. Just arbitrary lawsuits against, Ripple, Pulse Chain, blah, 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 whoever, right? Just a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, well, the SEC guy that came into power yesterday, he's like, yeah, we're not doing that shit. We're going to unleash the power of the crypto. And also at Treasury, we've got, what's his name, Basent? Something Basent? I still don't have these guys memorize their names yet. But Basent, I believe, is our Treasury guy, I think. And, yeah, he's full crypto. Full. And so not only is Trump in power, but he has put pro-crypto people in power at our financial institutions, the OCC, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission, the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, the who else we got here? What other letters we got here? Anyways, a bunch of them, all of them. He's put them in the key positions, well, as heads. And so let me tell you something, guys. You better hodl that portfolio and hodl it hard. Buy every dip you can. Because, look, I've told you guys on this channel 1,000,000 times since the beginning I've started it that there is a tsunami of money coming to this space. A tsunami? A fucking tsunami of money coming to this space. Period. How do you know, man? Because this is a viable product, which is called the blockchain. All this shit is just called blockchain. And each company Cardano, Solana, XRP, blah, 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 whatever. All they're doing is they have their flavor of the blockchain. I like to look at blockchain like pizza, right? Pizza is pizza. It's dough with some tomato sauce. Yeah, but then what you put on it, that makes the pizza, right? Do you put mozzarella on it? Okay. Or some people just, I think it's ricotta, right? You put the blobs of ricotta on it, right? You can make a pizza many ways, but it's still pizza. And that's what blockchain is. Blockchain is blockchain, but each blockchain is different. Oh, this one has NFTs. This one has DEX. This one Z-Snark. This one, what is it? Double signature something. All the bullshit, all the nerd stuff, right? Right. And so that's the product of this industry, or blockchains. And so, yeah, you think that's going to be, it's going to be something, you idiot. Yeah, blockchain Web3, right? And so it's the future. It's the future. Wait, where were we now? Oh, right. The crypto track. And so, and now you see it. Trump's about to unleash it. He's about to unleash it like a master. In fact, he owns his own crypto, right? Straight up going to be used for some bribery, but look, as long as he brings those crypto regs, I'm good. So that's what I've been telling people from the beginning. There is a tsunami of money coming to this space. And what I used to tell people is like, look, man, you're like Noah. What do you mean, dog? You're like Noah. You know Noah from the Bible? You mean with the ark? Yeah, the big boat with the animals. Noah. Let me ask you something. What made Noah special? Yeah, what made him special? Because what made him special was that he knew of an event that was going to occur and he took action for the occurrence of the said event. See what I'm saying? He knew beforehand, God told him, I'm going to flood this place. And so he built an ark. Well, and God also told him to build the ark. He didn't just do that voluntarily. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, and that's just like crypto. That's just like this channel. I told you, there's a tsunami coming. When, Shamari, when? Well, just like Noah. God did not tell Noah when the flood was going to happen. He just told him, look, there's going to be one, so prepare yourself. And that's what this channel's been about, right? Told you. Right? Like, it's a process, right? First you just got to get custody. Back in those days, 2018, I used to preach to these guys about custody. Oh, yeah, a 20-minute lecture on custody, right? Yeah, you think your stuff is on Wall Street? It's in a custody in Wyoming. Right? Remember those preachers? Beat it into their heads. Where were we? Why did I start talking about custody? Oh yeah, because that's what this channel's about, right? Like, so that's what this channel's about. And so, but Trump, right? What he's doing is amazing for us. Is amazing for us. Now, I want to say something about what this channel is really about, though. And you who've been here, who've been with me since back in the days, you all know. This channel isn't just to get you rich, okay? Well, what are you talking to me for? Settle down. We're going to get rich. But it's not just about getting rich. It's about, so what I used to like to say on this channel, well, and I still say it. Oh, and something so sexy happened. I'm gonna say it in a minute. But I'm here to turn worker bees into killer bees. Let's get real. You crypto people knew nothing about markets. Fucking half of you still don't know what a PMI or CPI is or whatever, right? That's fine, whatever. But what this channel is about is not just to let you get rich now, because we're all going to get rich. I don't give a fuck if you own Fartcoin. You're going to get rich if you bought enough of it. But it's like the dot-com bubble, okay? Those of you who are old enough like me who remember those days, the dot-com bubble, right? Once it caught on and everyone started knowing about it, well, everyone was buying stocks, right? Anything that just did anything with .com or computers was bought up. Everybody got rich. And I've told this story before. my dad and his friends, they used to fucking high five each other and think, yeah, I'm such a genius, man. I own Cisco, I own blah, blah, blah. And back in those days, me and my friends, we were hackers. And so we'd laugh like these fucking old men don't even know what they're doing, what they're invested in. So we'd go over to them and I'd be like, watch this. And I'd be like, hey, Dad, you invested in Cisco, huh? Yeah, son. Oh, man, what does it do? Well, the information gets moved around through their system. Oh, you mean a router? Something, I don't know, okay. So, and then we'd go back to our table and laugh at them. These idiots don't even know what the fuck they're invested in. Meanwhile, we were already rocking IP addresses and, all that kind of shit. Anyway, and so, but that's how it was. Just a frenzy, a free-for-all. In fact, there's something called the dot-com bubble. The dot-com bubble, right? It lasted from 1992 to the year 2000. It was an 8-year run. And in those 8 years, you could not get rich. Yeah, like if you just threw your money at anything, literally anything. Yeah, you got rich. Oprah Winfrey used to have this Wednesday, what was it called? It was like a, housewives investment club thing every Wednesday, right? And she'd have a bunch of housewives. She'd go to different cities, different towns, and and then they would interview the housewives like, hey, how's your portfolio doing? Oh, we made $15,000 last week. Oh, because what they would do, the housewives would put all the money together like a fund so they could buy more, right? Smart. And so they'd be like, yeah, our portfolio went up 15,000, our portfolio up on 20,000. Yeah, weekly. That's the level. Any idiot made money. Well, I'm going to tell you something about crypto. Every idiot in this space is going to make money. As long as they hodl, don't get weak-handed. Weak-handed means you get scared and you sell. Don't become a weak hand, or stop being a weak hand if you are. Then, you're going to get rich. Well, I don't know about rich, but it depends on how much you have of whatever. But you're definitely going to get more money than you have this very second listening to me if you just hodl, right? But then, and it's going to be a frenzy all across America. It's going to be a frenzy. The banks are going to hold your crypto for you. They're going to custody your crypto for you if you want, or you'll have self-custody. Or actually, today I was watching the SEC roundtable on cryptocurrencies, and it was all about custody today. Whew. Deep shit, if you have a smart contract which does something, do you launch the smart contract and kill the password and log in to that smart contract and let it just run? Or do you give someone the right to get into that smart contract and change it? Blah, 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 blah. And how do you do that as a custodian? It was deep. I mean, I know about custody, but I tell you right, today I got a PhD lesson in custody, and broker dealers, they don't do their own custody, but some banks might do their own custody. It's pretty wild. So if you haven't watched it, go watch today's SEC crypto roundtable. Right? Even I'm a market master. Yeah, about 25-30% of that shit, I didn't know what the fuck. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Right? And I'm a master. So anyways, where were we? What were we talking about? Oh, right. So, right, everyone's going to get rich. Everyone. But just like the dot-com bubble will eventually burst. Why did it burst? How could it happen? Well, it burst because eventually people look around. I've invested in this thing for 5 years, but it hasn't made any money. Right? The company hasn't made any money. Right? And so people, actually around 1998 is when people started asking that question, like, in fact, that's how Enron, Enron, there's a big company called Enron, was a big company called Enron, billions of dollars, like big. Yeah, they got busted because in 2000, they were sort of part of the tech bubble because they were trying to offer markets in weather and they were trying to do broadband. So people looked at them too. And so the thing was, in 1998, everyone asked, how does this company actually make its money? If you haven't yet, Google Enron, the smartest guys in the room, and watch that documentary, okay? That was right when the bubble burst. And that's what this lady, Susie McLean, she looked at the books of Enron and was like, well, it doesn't look like they're making any money. And Enron was like a mega corporation. They would be like saying, I don't know, like Facebook's not making money, like, or something like that. It's mega. But that happened to Enron because that was the big thing. But actually, it happened to tens of thousands of other companies that were in the tech sector because people just started looking like, wait a minute, this fucking piece of shit right here doesn't even make any money, right? And so that's when the bubble burst, because for 2 years, people were like, da-da-da, and then finally, everyone was like, fuck all this shit, and they sold all those tech stocks, well, most of them, like 90% of them, and only the winners survived. After the dust settled, you had the real killers left. IBM, Microsoft, Cisco, Oracle, right? The real players were left. All the rest of those fucking miscreants, gone. Gone. And that's what's going to happen here in the crypto world. Right now, everyone's going to make money. You could throw money at anything. You're going to make money, right? Unless you get rugged, you're going to make money. If they don't rug you, you'll make money. But the question is this. And like I said I just showed you with the dot-com bubble. Eventually, there's going to be a burst. Of course, people don't stay stupid forever. Eventually, they realize, like, wait a minute. Is this fucking piece of shit making any money? And that'll happen here, you know? I mean, look, the dot-com bubble had a good 8-year run before that. So this is going to run for a few years. I assume, but I don't know. Maybe it's a tight market, so maybe the analysts are just picky right away. But but then eventually the bubble bursts, and who's left after the dust settles? And that's what this channel has been about. It's beyond just trying to help people make money. Yeah, we're all gonna make fucking money. It's not a thing. Put money in crypto, trust me, you're gonna make more than what you put in. But the question is this: once the bubble bursts, and it will, like every bubble does, housing bubbles, whatever, tech bubbles, they burst. And the dust settles, what will your portfolio be doing? Will your portfolio be standing strong? Or will you have been crushed in the settling? And that's what we do here. That's what I preach, teach, lecture about here. Is by revenue generating product. Yeah, from the very beginning, I've told my people, I've told everybody, and I'm telling you right now, if this is the first time you're ever watching this, every crypto you have should have what's called onboardings. Here on this channel, we're a little elitist. Fortune 500s are government contracts. If you don't have one of those, go fuck yourself. I'm not interested in your hopes and your dreams. One day we're going to do, yeah, all right. Well, when you do it, hit me up. But Shamori, and I'll tell you this right now. A lot of people, not anymore so much, but when I first started the channel and everything, hundreds of people would DM me on Twitter and be like, Shamari, I want to buy this coin or that coin. What do you think? And then show it to me. Shamari, I'm in this coin, that coin, but I want to sell a little bit and buy this. What do you think? And like I've told everyone on this channel, I don't tell people what to do with their money. I mean, if you're listening close enough, you should get it. But I don't just directly tell people. So usually, well, not usually, every single time someone says to me, Shamari, check out this coin. It's called, I don't know, Bubble Sun. I don't know. Bubble Sun. It's called Bubblicious. What do you think of it? And before I even will look, because I do look, and all of you who have sent me cryptos, I do look at the ones you send me. Yeah, go check it out real quick. But the thing is, I always ask one question. Any onboardings? 2 words. Any onboardings? Yeah, if you don't have onboardings, well, I'm not interested. But Shamari, it's gonna have the blockchain on a satellite in space and providing da-da-da. Yeah, well, when they do that, I'll invest in that. Right? That's the dream. They hope to do that. Remember XRP, Ripple, was going to be a bridge between the banks? Oh, well, it didn't happen, did it? We're going to be. Well, you're going to try to be, and you failed, right? Chainlink is now literally the bridge integrated with Swift. You know, Chainlink wins. So, and so what were you talking about? We're talking about the crash. So that's what's going to happen here, and that's what this channel is about. Making sure that you fill your portfolio with crypto that is going to last even when the dust settles from the crumbling. Because remember, when the dust is settling, well, those people have to put their money somewhere. Yeah, well, now they'll keep funneling into revenue-generating product, right? Your your Microsofts, your Cisco's, your IBMs of the crypto market. They're going to get all the money. And so that's why we try to invest in those now, so that not only, are we going to make money up front here, we're going to make money quick, a quick, what's called ROR. It's not so quick anymore, man. We've been invested in this shit for a few years. But it's ROI, your return on your investment with ROR, your rate of return. So even though we have been hodling this shit for, 7 years now? 6, 7 years? Yeah, well, the ROI, the return is going to be so huge, we're not going to have to worry about that, it took 7 years to do it. You know what I mean? Because the gains are going to be so massive. 100 times your money, 1,000 times your money. Okay, I can hold for 7 years for that. I can hold 7 years for that. Right? But that's the thing. That's the key. And that's what this channel is about, right? Teaching people to invest in revenue generating. Holy, I'm all greasy looking, sweaty. I should turn on the air conditioner. So that once the bubble happens, their portfolios are still going to stand strong, right? And that's what you should do. That's what you should be doing right now. Don't worry about, the prices going up and down right now. Who gives a shit? I've said that from the beginning of this channel. Who gives a shit? Just buy revenue generating product. And when the tsunami arrives, bang! When the regulations come, bang! Trust me, you're going to be rich. And you're going to survive the eventual burst that'll happen. And so I guess what I'm saying is Trump is really unleashing this for us. His tariff thing is fucking us up right now, but it doesn't matter. Because like I've always said, until regs come out, who gives a shit about the price, right? I mean, just in terms of crypto, he's fucking up the economy and everything. And like I said, if you're an American, look, man, this is the time to hoard. People hoard shit here in America. When there's a hurricane or a flood or tornado or some shit coming, everyone goes into the local markets and they buy everything. All the toilet paper is gone. Everything's gone. The water. Right? So what's the point of that, though? What am I trying to say here? Damn it. I lost my train of thought. Okay, we were talking about the end of the bubble burst. Shit. Oh, Trump. Oh, giving us the chicken. Anyway, man, I don't know how the fuck we got there to the water being bought and everything. I'm sorry about that. So I'm just going to have to start at a new thing here. But Trump's unleashing it. Oh, I think I know what I was saying. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. I was saying it doesn't matter until regs come. Once the regulations are in place, well, that's when we're going to care. On this channel, we've never talked about price. Never. Right? If I'm reading an article and there's price at the bottom or some price prediction, I'm like, and I leave. Because nobody knows. Nobody knows, right? A market is just a market. A market is just buyers and sellers. That's it. There's nothing magical. There's no cycles. well, there are cyclical stocks, so I admit that. But there's no overall cycle to the markets. There's no halving. Okay, that's a bunch of bullshit. There's buyers and sellers. Now that the institutions are coming buying the Bitcoin, well, hence the price going up like that. Right? Buyers and sellers. The markets are us, just trading assets between each other. Remember that. The asset itself is not magical. The gold, the crypto, the Euro USD derivative. It's not magical. It's that everyone's buying and selling those. And if you're on the right side of the buy or the sell, well, you make money, right? That's a market. That's all a market is. Sentiment and homework. All right. So, okay. So, Shamari, man. So, what's going to go down? So, look, nobody knows what's going to go down. I can't read Donald Trump's mind, right? I don't even know if he reads his own mind. You know, like, fuck, this guy's fucking unhinged. So, you know, what's going to happen? I don't know. But all I would say, all I'm going to say is just this, is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Keep accumulating, accumulating, accumulating. And when the regs come, they come. And you'll just sit back and watch it all grow and get rich. Right? When is that going to happen, Shamari? I don't know. I mean, this motherfucker could really do some crazy shit on July 9th and really fuck shit up, right? But it's not going to matter yet because we don't have the regs yet. What's going to suck is if we do get all the regs and this guy's still messing around, you know, sending everyone risk off and stuff. That is going to not be good, right? So, all right, so that's what's been going down lately, guys. That's what's been going down, right? Trump has been going down, you know, Trump. So I'm not going to bullshit you. His economic policy is complete dog shit. His crypto policy, oh yeah, baby. Good to go. That's why I say, right? I don't love the guy. I don't hate the guy. Just make my money come, dog. Just serve me the chicken. All right. Okay, so we got that. Is there anything else to talk about? Oh, the sexiness, I said. And so let me show you what this channel's been about. It's about turning what I call worker bees, you know, just regular 9-to-5 people, but who have no real, you know, they don't know CPI, PMI, interest rates. Like, they don't know any of that stuff. So it's to turn the fundamentals. So it's to turn worker bees into killer bees. Let me tell you something. The sexiest thing I've ever seen, the sexiest thing. Oh, yeah, guys, I'm going to talk about it. The sexiest thing I saw was the other day. I'm online. I'm looking. And I'm a Forex trader. And I have a chat room where people can chat with me. If you want to be in the chat room, just DM me and be like, hey, put me in. No politics, no religion, no misogyny, no anti this or that, and come on in. But anyway, though, and the other day I was in the Forex market. You know, I'm looking at my charts, and bang, all of a sudden this fucking crazy downturn. So I just typed in to the chat, to the crypto chat. I was like, oh, something in the market just happened, right? So obviously when something in the market happens, I go, look, like, what just happened? Who said what? What the fuck, right? Who lowered interest rates? Who raised them? Did Trump talk again? What the hell, right? That's how you have to do it. Like, that's how we are. That's how Mastas we are, right? We're watching the market. We know some motherfucker said something out there or did something out there to fuck things up, right? Or sometimes to make it go good, right? Sometimes it's for your benefit. You're in this trade and all of a sudden, bang, and you're like, whoa, you know, you've hit price target 3 and it's like, how the fuck did we get there? And then you look, oh, the housing numbers were wicked. We're awesome, right? So the other day, I type in, something just happened in the market. And I go, look. I don't remember what it exactly was, but I come back to the chat. Bang! And two of my people, a brother and a sister of the CB News family, bang, bang. They both posted what just happened. I don't remember. It was like Trump saying something or something. I don't remember what it was. But right there and then, I was like, yeah. And I'm going to tell you, and I know your names, Edwin and Elise. Edwin and Elise. That was the sexiest fucking thing I've ever fucking seen on my fucking chat ever. Right? Where I'm just like, look, something happened, and bang, they go find it. That's Masta. That's what we do. That's what we do. We follow the news all day, right? And whenever there's something that goes on, yeah, first thing, what happened? What happened? And what does it mean? Right? That's all we care about. I'm a market guy. I don't give a fuck about politics. I don't give a fuck about geopolitics. I don't give a fuck about anything except the markets. That's not true. I mean, I do give a fuck. I mean, you know, Russia invading the Ukrainians. That's some fucked up shit. So, I mean, I give a fuck about life, but I mean, you know, it is what it is. You guys are doing that to yourselves, not me. So, so anyway, yeah, but that's how it works. That's when you know that someone's becoming a Masta. And look, I want to give shout outs to Edwin and Elise. Look. Bang! No, bang! No, look, bang! Why did we get 3 bangs? Because you guys are becoming Mastas. That is how we are. You see, you just did it naturally. Yeah, that's how it is. That's how it becomes. That's how it is for us. Some shit goes on. What happened? That's the first sign that you're knowing PMIs, CPIs, and everything is actually, that's like Benjamin, right? Like that's Masta level. But going and finding out what happened, right? You're no longer sitting there going, oh man, what's going on with the halving? We went down, or some shit like, you know, oh man, this cycle must be, you know, you're done with the bullshit. You are now finding out and getting the data. Markets move through catalysts. That's it. There's no cycles. There's no, what do you call that thing? I just said it. Halvings in terms of crypto. That's all bullshit. Markets are buyers and sellers. That's it. That's it. And you have to, and every buyer, every real market Masta, every player, well, we're looking at the news all day, every day. Right? We're looking at the charts all day, every day. And as long as sentiment stays, blah, 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 all right, well, we trade, blah, 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 blah. But then you'll be trading, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden, burn! You'll be like, what the fuck? Yeah, and then you look. It's natural. It's natural instinct. And Edwin, Elise, you both had that natural instinct now, right? You're not thinking about havings and just weirdness. You're like, oh, what just happened? So, and I like Edwin. Well, Edwin's the original, so I love him. And Elise, she's cool. I love you too, Elise. And it's really cool on my chat because whenever Bitcoin goes up, Edwin will be like, oh, here we go. And then Elise will jump in. I'm here. You know, like they get along very well, both of them. I like that. I think at Noah Fest, it's going to be cool to see them getting along and talking. They get along very well. Anyways, though, but yeah, guys, that was the sexiest piece of shit I ever seen. You know, I almost got hard. Oh, yeah. Did Edwin and Elise just boop, got a little hard there? It's like, daggone. Finally, it's kicking in after sucking fucking, sorry, what? After fucking 7 years. Well, better late than never. Bang! So, okay, so I wanted to shout that. I wanted to bring that up and give you guys proper respect because that is the sexiest thing I ever saw. That is the sexy. That is the sexy. I just said, hey, something happened. And then, bang! This Shmari. Like, oh, yeah, they know now. They know now. They know now. Right? Love you guys. Mwah. Edwin. Mwah. Elise. All right. So let's proceed how we normally proceed. I think that's the end of the yap. there anything else to cover? Okay, so the crypto's rolling, but then the tariffs are fucking around. Anything else to cover? Economically, nah, not yet. Okay, so there's nothing else to cover. So let us proceed how we proceed, brother. Look, bang! All right. Look. Top 10 of the day, brothers and sisters. You know who they are. The usual miscreants. The usual suspects. Top 10. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, XRP, BNB, Solana, USDC, Dogecoin, Cardano, and Tron. Still holding on the number 10. All right, let's look at the top losers of the day. If you see anything on here you like, well, look, go get it, because it's on sale. Get it if they have some onboardings. Wait, what's going on here? What the fuck's going on? All right, there we are. All right, top 10 losers. Should be Fartcoin, Hyperliquid, Unicedlio, Onyx Coin, Stacks, Pax Gold, Tether Gold. Shit, hold on. All right, Tether Gold, BitSensor, Gate Token. Oh, and Gate Token. All right, let's look at the top 10 gainers of the day. Bang! Bang! Here we are. Woo! Holy 39%. That Bitcoin SV thing is still here. Is that guy's coin? Remember, he was like, I don't remember the guy's name. Was his name Roger Ver or something? Anyway, look. Top 10 gainers. Bitcoin SV. Oh, WorldCoin. What? Oh, the WorldCoin. All right, I don't know. All right, top 10 gainers. Bitcoin SV, WorldCoin, Virtual Protocol, Bonk, Dogwhiff Hat, Helium, Floki, Official Trump, Artificial Superintelligence, Bang Bang, Dr. Ben Gortzel, and Radium. All right, let's look at the total market cap. Total market cap is $2.96 trillion. And when I left you last time, I mean, I can't find the exact last time thing, so I'm just going to find kind of an old one near the end of whatever. All right, we were at $2.43 trillion. We've gone up $53 trillion. Or, sorry, $0.53 trillion. Now let's look at the, what do we call it? Oh, volume. Fucking volume. Here we go. Okay. Volume is 107.16 billion. Yeah. Anything over 100, you've got my interest. Anything over 100 billion a day. Look. I'm listening. And the last time I was with you, it was 86,000.5. Or sorry, 86.5. So we've gone up. What is that? 21.9 billion? Anyway, something like that. All right. I know the math isn't good if you don't do the show for a while. Got old cards. I mean, they're here somewhere, but I just don't know where they are. All right, let's move on. Let's get to the stories. Bang. Whoops. Bang. There we go. Oh, I didn't explain that. Right. All right, so I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to explain something. Okay? Okay, actually, let's get back to the Death Star, and let me explain something. Bang! Welcome back, everybody. Okay, and then we'll read the stories. Okay, so the other thing I forgot, and this is what I did want to talk to you about, is regulations. You know, there's a tsunami of money coming to this space. Well, when? When we get regulations. But we don't want regulations. We're crypto. We're rebels. We're disruptors. We're this and that. You ain't shit until you get regulations. Okay, nerd? Settle down. Settle the fuck down. All right? And that's what I just talked about with Trump, so we're not going to have to go over this, exhaustively, but Yeah, Trump's bringing the regulations. And once there's regulations, then hedge funds, fund masters, everybody can bring their clients' money here in a regulated fashion, right? With consumer protections and blah, 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 blah. Okay. And so that's why we need these regulations from Trump. Okay. Actually, I did explain it kind of, didn't I? So let's move on. All right. Here we are. Okay. So Hong Kong regulator unveils roadmap to strengthen virtual asset ecosystem. So as you all know, Hong Kong is part of China, right? It's supposed to be one country, two systems, but let's get real. Xi Jinping and the CCP control that place. And they are unleashing crypto over there. And so, it's amazing because China, sorry guys, that was fucked up. China has 1.4 billion people. So we want them to obviously get in here, not to mention their corporations and their investment guys. I mean, their investment guys are different than ours. They don't just get to do whatever. It's very controlled over there, China. It's not like here in America or wherever you are probably listening to me from. Anyways, though. So look, let's read on. Let's start reading. Hong Kong's Securities and Futures Commission, the SFC, has launched a comprehensive roadmap outlining strategic initiatives designed to strengthen the city's position as a leading global hub for virtual assets. Yeah. See, the Chinese want to be a hub. So the SFC's Aspire E roadmap introduced a 5-pillar framework: access, safeguards, products, infrastructure, and relationships, each targeting key aspects of the digital asset ecosystem as per the SFC Wednesday announcement. So access, obviously, is... All right, let's break it down a little bit. Let's bang it. Oh, bang! Access means who can get it, blah, 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 what, or who can trade it. Is there leverage or not? That's access. So they're going to figure out their access, who's got access, at what leverage, and at Safeguards. You got to have safeguards. You got to protect the consumer. You got to protect the businessman. All right? You have to have someone to complain to and rectify your problem. Right? Right? If I order a cheeseburger and it's missing the cheese, I go to the manager and be like, dog, your fucking employee tried to scam me on my cheese. And the manager goes, oh, you can't do that. In fact, have two. I'm sorry about that, sir. Right? Yeah, you have to have someone to complain to, and that's where safeguards come in. Like here in America, you feel like you got pump and dumped. You feel like you got front ran, I guess is the way to say it. Yeah, well, you can complain to the SEC, and the SEC will look into it. Right? And if so, yeah, you'll get your money and all sorts of shit. All right, so bang. And then the products. So safeguards are key. All right, now, bang, products. That's going to be interesting because I don't think China is just going to let every single crypto just be out there like that, right? Because remember, so for those of you who've been with this channel for a long time, like since like 2018, 2019, you guys remember we used to read that top 10 crypto thing that the Communist Party used to give out every month, remember? Right? It was like the top 10 thing, or the top 10 cryptos, and they had some sort of rating system. So I think it's going to be more like that. Like they're not going to let, dog with butt. They're not going to allow their people to probably buy that shit. Stuff like that. They're going to have them buying, revenue generating product, right? Cardano, Solana, Chainlink, obviously, stuff like that, right? So the products are going to matter. Whereas here in America, there's an attitude of, well, let the people decide if they want to invest. It shouldn't be up to us to tell them they can't invest in this or that. I kind of think I disagree with that. If you see soccer mom about to put 10,000 bucks into fart with coin or whatever the fuck, you might want to say, hey, soccer mom, there's this thing called Chainlink here. You see what I'm saying? So I disagree with that. I like the Chinese model more. In other words, well, I don't know what the model is yet, but what I'm assuming is going to be the model is we're only going to allow crypto companies that actually do something to sell to our citizens, right? Like the stock market, right? Like you actually have to get IPO'd to be on it. We're not just going to let you sell shares to everyone and anyone like that. Okay, so products. I think the Chinese will have revenue generating products. Infrastructure, obviously, obviously you know what infrastructure is. Just the bells and the whistles, the custody, the listings on exchanges, the insurance, all the unsexy stuff. I find it sexy, but most don't. That's the infrastructure. But I like to know how things work. Right? Like how some motherfucker might know how a car works. Yeah, that's how I know how the markets work. I don't shit about cars. But I'll tell you all about it when the Americans raise their interest rates. What that means. All right, and then finally, relationships. And I guess that means just, conversing with CEOs in the industry and, making sure everything's running smoothly. All right, so where are we here? I'm stuck in a relationship. So each targeting key aspects of the digital asset ecosystem, as per the SFC Wednesday announcement. So the 12 initiative roadmap is crafted to foster growth by enhancing market access. In other words, hey, average soccer mom and dad in China, come get some of this chicken. Right? Because remember before, China only allowed at first kind of just a few little institutional guys, right? And then last year we read, was it last year? Hold on. 2 years ago in June 1st, right? China released their regulations, right? The same day as MiCA regs. The MiCA Europeans gave their regulations, right? 2 years ago, I believe, right? 2023? I could be wrong. Tell me in the comments. But anyway, since then, Xi Jinping, that's the president of China, has been telling banks and everything to get ready for this crypto, Remember, we read a few stories about that, right? That he was incentivizing them to get into crypto and stuff. So this is great. So this is going to enhance market access. In other words, soccer mom and dad, everyone can come in. Tighten regulatory safeguards. Everyone's protected. Don't worry about it. And expanding the range of virtual asset products available. Right? If you're making money, you're in. We're going to grow it. So this roadmap is not a final destination, but a living blueprint, said Dr. Eric Yip, Executive Director of Intermediaries at the SFC, adding that it invites collective efforts to advance Hong Kong's vision as a global hub where innovation thrives with guardrails. Right. You can thrive, but look, we got some rules. Right. Consumer protections. You guys know I've been preaching about that for years, which is how I told you, until the regs come, we ain't going nowhere, motherfuckers. Trust me. And as you see, we didn't, did we? So look, if fully implemented, Hong Kong's regulatory watchdogs hopes the roadmap will create a more inclusive, secure, and innovative environment for virtual assets, ensuring Hong Kong remains a competitive and attractive destination for global platforms and institutional players. Oh, yeah. Chinese aren't playing. Well, especially now with all this tariff shit. You know what I mean? If you're a Chinese person, it hasn't happened yet. And actually, China controls their currency, so it can't go way down or way up like that. They they have their currency trading in what's called a band, right? So it can only go up that much or down that much, right? They're communists, they control the currency. And so, all right, so I guess what I was about to say makes no sense. All right, so let's move on. So the access pillar is to streamline market entry by introducing new licensing frameworks for OTC trading and custodians. So first, the OTC and custodians. What did I teach you guys? You guys who've been here for 4, 5, 6 years. What did I tell you? Right, it's OTC, over-the-counter market, where you get to wheel and deal without making the prices go crazy. And, remember back in the days I used to preach to you about custodians. Right? Well, you don't have a custodian. Well, you don't have a market. All right, so look, the safeguards pillar focuses on enhancing investor protection with refined operational requirements and compliance measures. And the products pillar is for expanding the assets offering, including new token listings and derivatives. So the infrastructure pillar so we're still going on. The infrastructure pillar modernizes market oversight, utilizing advanced technologies to ensure market integrity. Oh yeah. What's that one thing? Chain analysis. Guaranteed that's going to be deployed. While the relationships pillar will promote collaboration with industry stakeholders through continuous dialogue and regulatory refinement. So the SFC plans to build on its success by offering further clarity and improvements to its regulatory framework, including the introduction of a framework for virtual asset custodians. The government's regulatory approach also includes a review of the over-the-counter trading activities, with expectations for a second consultation round and a final licensing regime for custodians by the end of 2025. So they're going to know. So if you don't know, a custodian, okay, so your money, let me tell you what a custodian is. Without a custodian, you don't have a market. Well, without custodians, you don't have a market. Okay, a custodian, and you should watch the SEC, and I'm going to put it in the description of this video. You should watch today's SEC roundtable because it's all about custody. Right? A custodian, your money, okay, so for instance, you have TD Ameritrade. You're an American. You come home after work, you're feeling good about yourself. You're hearing some good news about some stock, you want to buy it. All right? So you go, you log in, bang, 100 shares of blah, 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 not coin, blah, blah, blah stock. Well, where is that stock? Right? Have you ever asked yourself? It's not just magical. Like, where is the stock? I just bought 100 of them. Well, where physically on Earth are they? Oh, you ever ask yourself that? Yeah, and how does everybody know that I own 100? That I own 100 of these things? Yeah, it's called custodians. Custodians. They're a big network all around the world, networking to each other, telling each other, so that if you buy 100 shares of blah, blah, blah stock, every custodian in the world knows you own 100 shares of blah, blah, blah stock. But where's my stock actually held? An honest truth, it's probably held in some fucking server farm in Montana. Where it's cold, right? So they can keep the server, they can, air condition the server farm. Huh? In Wyoming? It's not on Wall Street? Fuck no. Your money's nowhere close to Wall Street. In fact, most Wall Street trading actually happens in New Jersey. Never mind. Never mind custody being on Wall Street. Yeah, your shit is somewhere else. In a custodian. And custodians are they're not they are a network. And they, transfer the information of who owns what. Yeah, well, who owns what and how much, right? And so, okay, so moving on. So they want to have that, right? They want to have the final licensing regime by the end of 2025. So it looks like China is getting ready to rock for 2026 because you can't have a market without custodians, right? And so, that's just impossible. And so they're saying that they want it done by the end of 2025, which tells us what? They want to get ready for 2026. So let's expect the China and Hong Kong to come online 2026. Right? These are little clues you find. Well, when's it going to happen? You got to find the clues. They want to have the licensing by 2025, by the end. Yes. Which means they're hoping by 2026 they can do something. They can do it. Doesn't mean they will accomplish what they're doing, but maybe it'll be halfway into 2026. But whatever. But you see, they're on the move. Okay, so Jody Lee, head of legal crypto exchange Flipster, told Decrypt that Hong Kong's phased approach to virtual asset regulation reflects a calculated strategy to balance market growth with risk management. Lee added that by initially permitting access to professional investors only. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, right? Bang! Right? China only allowed it. China only allowed it. That's crazy. China only allowed, well, and Hong Kong slash China only allowed professional investors so far to get crypto. Like soccer mom and dad can't get that shit yet. But that's going to happen. That's going to happen once they got all this custody and everything figured out and the regulations and everything. So, blah, blah, blah. By initially permitting access to professional investors only, the SFC ensured that trading platforms could refine compliance protocols, stress test their operational resilience, and implement investor protections without exposure to retail participants. So, see? So, China said, okay, here's some stuff. Here's the crypto. The professionals could come in, and they had to face all the problems, right? Before you allow the retailers to have to face that, right? And so, right? So thanks that the professional investors were there. They refined their protocols. They stress tested their operational resiliences. They got the investor protections and everything without exposure to the retail participants. In other words, I guess basically, I'll just say it in all truth. What China said was, all right, I'll let you guys go. And, we're going to learn from the fuck-ups that happen so that by the time we allow the retailers to come, there won't be those problems. All right, so look. In addition to the roadmap strategic pillars, Hong Kong has made notable progress in the virtual asset space. Okay, are we going to keep reading this? How much longer is this shit? Look, we're going to move on. But you guys get it. Bang! China, Hong Kong is here, is coming. Bang! Bang! All right, enough of that. And finally, Federal Reserve withdraws crypto-unfriendly bank guidance. So this happened today, and this is what I'm talking about. Trump, he might be fucking suicidal on the macroeconomic level. He's an idiot. But on the crypto level, look, he's doing great for us. So, as you all know, that, the previous administration had a lot of restrictions and and rules and blah, 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 blah on crypto. Yeah, well, Trump is basically like, fuck all that. We're still going to have consumer protections and everything, but he's like, fuck all that. We're moving forward, like, fast. In 2022, the Fed had told banks that, you can't do this or you can't do that. Yeah, well, Trump just said, fuck all that. You could do what you want. Within the rules, of course. Within the regs, which are coming. But he's showing them, like, look, regs are coming and you guys can do what you want. So let's check it out. The U.S. Federal Reserve announced it is withdrawing guidance that served to deter banks from engaging in crypto and stablecoin activities. The board is rescinding its 2022 supervisory letter establishing an expectation that state member banks provide advance notification of planned or current crypto asset activities. The Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve explained in an April 24 statement. So, right, because banks used to have to be like, hey, we want to do this with crypto. Is that okay? Right, and all that. And Trump's just like, look, dog, you want to do something with crypto? Do it. You don't have to ask anymore. So any crypto-related activities will now be monitored through the Federal Reserve's normal supervisory process. Right. We'll let you do whatever you want. But if you fuck around, well, you're going to find out. Right? That's the problem with Biden. They were too scared. But if they fuck around, if they fuck around, make them find out. You close them down, you sue them, you put them in jail. People will get the message. You don't have to protect everybody from crypto. Well, not from crypto, but just from market movements and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so look, the Federal Reserve is also rescinding its 2023 supervisory letter that impacted how state banks could engage in stablecoin activities. So, and there it is, this is the withdrawn. It's gone now. So, its guidance initially flagged that crypto may pose risks related to safety and soundness, consumer protections, and financial stability of the American financial system. Really? Stocks don't have risk? Stocks don't crash? Certain types of crypto assets, such as stablecoins, if adopted at large scale, could also pose risks to financial stability, including potentially through destabilizing runs and disruptions. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry guys. In the payment system. I'm not even tired. I don't know why I did that. I'm getting fueled. Anyways, the Federal Reserve also flagged that crypto is commonly used for money laundering. And what was used for money laundering before crypto? Yeah, money. I hate when they say that, right? Crypto could be used for money laundering. Yeah, so can money. What do you want to do? In fact, the main thing with money laundering right now is buying art, right? All these gangsters and everything around the world are buying expensive pieces of art because it holds its value, right? You buy the Mona Lisa, it's $50 million. All right, well, there's your $50 million. Right? You've laundered the money, right? And when you sell it, you'll get $50 million out of it, clean and clear. But anyways, though, so I hate that, though. Crypto could be used for fucking money laundering. What else can be used for money laundering? Money, in general. Anything of value, moron. All right, so look, let's move on. I don't want to sit here cursing them out. Look, Fed also withdrawal statement warning banks of crypto fraudsters. Along with the FDIC and the Office of the OCC, the Office of the Comptroller, and so the FDIC, that's who insures our bank accounts here in America, up to $250,000. And the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, bang, actually controls our banks, right? It's not the Fed Reserve. It's not fucking the SEC. No, the OCC controls our banks, okay? Got to get the different agencies right. So, for example, rooted the statements concerning banks interacting with crypto asset sector participants that may be engaging in fraud. All right, hold on. So, look, inaccurate or misleading representations and disclosures by crypto asset companies may be unfair, deceptive, or abusive, contributing to significant harm to retail and institutional investors, the agency added in the now withdrawn joint statement. So, that's a little shady, right? You're going to allow the banks to just deal with anybody. Honestly, I like the Chinese model. Like, China, we're going to pick. You know, we're going to first vet. You know, we're going to put these guys through a vetting system of who can sell in our to our citizens. Right? I mean, that's what the stock market's about. Right? An IPO is a vetting system. If you IPO today and no one buys your shit, all right, well, you're garbage. Right? If you IPO today and your shit explodes 10 times, all right, you're something. And because you generate revenue and whatnot. And that's what the Chinese are doing. But it looks like Trump might let a more of a Wild West approach happen here. We have to see. I mean, this is all just getting talked about now. I mean, you know what I mean? So look, the withdrawals mark the Federal Reserve's first major move addressing crypto activities under the Trump administration, which has undertaken several initiatives to make the U.S. more crypto-friendly and support innovation. The SEC also revoked a controversial rule that called on banks and financial firms holding crypto to record them as liabilities on their balance sheets, eliminating a regulatory barrier that slowed crypto banking adoption. So they don't have to put them as liabilities. Anyways, whatever. So bang. And what I wanted to show you by that is just, you see, it's all rolling. These are what we need. This is what we need. Okay? Regulations, regulatory clarity, right? Not, not this Wild West that we've had forever until now. We need regulatory clarity to bring in the big money, to bring us the tsunami of money. Well, that's coming and that we deserve for being here so long. All right, let's get to the shout outs. Technically bullish. Love you, brother. See you, brother. Boy. Actually, I don't know if anyone's really here because I haven't done a show for so long. Yeah, shit. All right. Let's move on. All right, but everybody in the chat, bang, and Elise and Edwin, so sexy. Sexy. Look. All right, let's get to the market overview. So just Hong Kong's unveiling its roadmap and refining it. And so China is about to come on board. That's the key takeaway that you should take away from this story. And it's going to unleash 1.4 billion people, soccer moms and dads, retailers, institutions, everybody, to come invest in this space. And that's the beauty I want to also talk to you about, is that you have to remember this, that crypto is global. So the more and more countries that come on and unleash their citizens, the more and more the prices are going to go up on everything, right? I told you, I mean, economics 101, a market is buyers and sellers. Yeah, well, each country that regs up is going to unleash their buyers. As long as there's more buyers, it goes up. Like, this shit could go up for the next 20 fucking years if it takes 20 years for countries to come online. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's complete speculation on my part, but, well, it's not speculation that they'll drive prices up. It's speculation 20 years. It might be longer, it might be shorter. All right? So that's what's so great, is that we're a global market, right? Like, Microsoft shares only trade during the American market, right? Well, crypto trades 24/7, right? More like what I'm in, Forex market, right? Money doesn't sleep, you know? And anyway, so this is great for us, China coming on board. And then finally, the Federal Reserve took away the restrictions for banks to engage in crypto and digital asset activities, which is good, but I don't like how they... Anyways, look. All right. We'll just leave it at that. So, which is going to be amazing. Actually, I like the Chinese model. I'll just say it. I said it already anyway. So I like the Chinese model where the government's going to vet, like, are you an actual company that actually makes money, or are you just some girl who spits on cocks and came out with a Haktua coin? You know what I mean? Like, I like that way of dealing with crypto, like, where the government's like, you know, looking at shit, not just let you just build whatever you want, sell whatever you want. But anyways, though, but bottom line is, this is great for crypto. This is great for all of us because, the market masters. Oops, let's get back to the Death Star. Bam! The market masters are, are going to get here, and that's what really matters. We don't have to worry about that because we're not invested in dog shit, but I wish there was a little more protection. Anyways, though, so, all right, so everybody, that's it. Let's shill it and kill it. Bang! Let's get you back to your wives and lives. Look, subscribe below and press the bell. You'll get an automatic notification when I do the show, the greatest show on earth, the greatest show in the multiverse. Look, my name's Shmar Clark, and I love talking money, and I love talking crypto. Bang! This is the favorite time of my day. So thank you for having me in your home, and I'll see you all next time for another fun, fact-filled day of crypto talk. But until then, subscribe here and press the bell. Watch that video there and get your mind right, and I'll see you all next time. My name is Shmar Clark. I'm always watching our money. And look, we about to get rich. Bang! Look. Over and out.